Hi Nick, welcome to MIA Studio.
It's a pleasure to be here, Simon.
It's great to have you. By the way, as we are aware that in 2017 you had a worldwide agenda consultation, and basically that's with the drive towards looking at how IVSC to chart the direction of IVSC. What have been the key outcomes and outputs that we have?
The key outcomes since 2017 have been a new board structure where we have more in-depth knowledge for Tangible Assets Board, Business Valuation and Intangibles Board, and Financial Instruments Board, all of which draw experts together from around the world. In terms of other outcomes, we have focused on adding to international valuation standards, whether it's clarifying things that organisations wanted us to clarify, or adding new chapters such as non-financial liabilities, as well as working towards new topics that you will see on financial instruments. For us, that engagement is really important, and we encourage as many people as possible to contribute to our consultations, whether on the standards or what we should be focusing on, to make sure we're focusing on the right things. And we're seeing that global engagement increase. We've almost doubled in size in the last few years. So we now have 144 organisations that are proactively involved as members or sponsors of IVSC. And that demonstrates the success that we've had and the credibility that we have in bringing these new boards together and evolving the quality of the standards that we produce.
So what would you consider to be the most challenging areas that you face in an organization as global as IVSC?
The challenges that we face, as you can imagine, we deal with lots of different countries in different stages of evolution, from very mature markets that have a lot of guidance and professionalism to markets that have no professionalism and standards. And so we have a model and we have people that help support that. So actually we help support developing countries that have nothing in place. We have a model as to what a good valuation professional organisation looks like, as well as standards that they can use. And we can also make introductions to other organisations which help supply things like education and other materials and guidance that they might need. But it's very difficult when we look at the world as a whole in terms of those different stages of evolution. The other one is focusing on making sure that we can develop a truly global business valuation profession. And that involves having a well-regarded business valuation profession in every country. That's a priority for us. It's a priority for regulators that we speak to, and it's a priority for end users. I spent some time recently with some of the global pension funds, and they don't see why there should be a difference in quality between different countries. They want to have quality outputs that they can use to give them confidence in the value of assets that they invest in, no matter where it is in the world.
It has been said that valuation is likely to be potentially the second truly global profession after accountancy. Why is that, and how do we get there?
We would like to think so, and we're on our way there. Accountancy is definitely the first true profession that has a global approach. In terms of how we're going to get there, we're using a similar approach to the one which the IFRS foundations use. We bring together experts from around the world to actually put together high quality standards. And we don't mind where the best ideas come from. We welcome them from wherever they are, whether that's Malaysia, Australia, Canada, wherever in the world it is. We truly want the best ideas. If someone disagrees, that's fine. Come and get engaged with us. Come and contribute to the global approach. So that's way of bringing together a global community enables people to feel that they've got a stake and that they can buy into it. The second thing that's really important is the development of the profession. Now, on the real estate side, you have a reasonably well-developed profession in most countries around the world. And IVS, indeed, is either in law or market practice for many countries. On business valuation, the profession is less developed. So some countries do it extremely well. Some countries do it less well. But it's an area where there is an increasing amount of regulatory concern around the world. As people understand more about the importance of valuation, we're seeing the need for more professionalism. If you look at companies these days, you're seeing a greater amount of intangibles that make up the worth of a company.
Yeah.
And so it's really important that we have professionals that can address these investor needs and give confidence both domestically and internationally. And not only that, Simon, but I'm sure you recognise with new generation of members coming into your organisation, people want to be more and more internationally relevant. Whether that's international companies that are coming and investing in Malaysia, or whether it's the ability to have a qualification and an approach which enables them to go and work elsewhere in the world. People will just want that. And from an investor point of view, do you really want to have to understand 195 different approaches to accounting or valuation? Or do you simply want to be able to have good, solid advice which allows you to compare and contrast your investments around the world?
Right. So I think the way to go is towards greater consistency and comparability in terms of how valuations are done globally. Right. So in terms of what's the key value proposition for having international valuation standards?
The key value proposition for international valuation standards is simplicity. It's what investors want. It's what regulators want in terms of being able to enable confidence in their domestic markets. It's what governments tend to want in terms of being able to attract inward investment by giving greater levels of transparency and confidence. Countries that don't have transparency tend to miss out on opportunities when it comes to inward investment. So on a macro level, these things are important. And obviously, we've also covered off the need that is seen from a professional's point of view to be relevant, not just in their country from a high quality point of view, but also internationally. And one of the initiatives that IVSC has embarked upon, not just in having high quality standards, but is also encouraging professionalism through working with organisations such as yourselves. But we're also looking to have tools on our website which will shorten the distance between someone that wants to have a valuation, maybe it could be a global pension fund, private equity firm, whoever the client might be, and where they can find a provider of that service. So ideally, they'd be able to click on a map of the world, wherever they want a valuation service, and find someone that's a well-qualified professional that knows how to do valuations in accordance with international valuation standards.
Right. Right. So as a CEO of IVSC, what do you consider to be your key priorities right now? And what do you see, what's in store for us for 2020 and going forward?
So in terms of my key priorities, quality of the standards, making sure that we bring the best ideas from around the world to develop those standards, particularly in areas which are constantly evolving, such as business valuation and financial instruments. Real estate is important, but it tends to be a little bit steadier and more developed in those areas. Secondly, professionalism. We can put in place the best standards in the world, but unless we have good professionals in place, that's meaningless. And so we need to encourage good professionalism everywhere in the world. And in an ideal market, what we would see is international valuation standards, guidance and education by the local professional body, and the need to become professionally qualified. And if you're a good valuer, this is nothing to be afraid of. This is something that you should embrace. But we need to remove people that are playing at being valuers, acting unethically in some cases, and giving the valuation profession in some markets a bad name.
So what would you think will be in store for us for 2020 and beyond?
2020, you will see an evolution in terms of the quality of standards that we produce from a financial instruments point of view, in particular, as we have a much greater level of expertise in the new Financial Instruments Board. I would expect that we will be working on items considering prominent issues such as environmental and social value, which are things that companies are considering more and more, whether within their own company or whether in companies that they're looking to invest in. And we will see more and more countries adopt an approach which has IVS in it from a legal point of view, and also which has barriers to entry in terms of having high quality professionalism. These are fundamental to us as an organisation, And that's what we're looking to work to achieve.
Looking forward to that. Thank you, Nick, for joining us in this studio.
Thank you, Simon. It's a pleasure to see you.